You're listening to the Pathless Path. We're two women figuring it out as we go. This isn't about perfection.
It's about staying rooted in truth, not trends, and having the conversations most people avoid.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kiki.
Hi, everyone. I'm Naya. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, welcome. Oh, it feels so good to actually be recording. And
Seriously,
guys, you should have been here for the hiccup yesterday.
that was fun. Do you want to tell them?
8 hours. It was 8 hours. It was a good learning experience. We have become masters in a lot of things. We can add different we have more knowledge, I will say.
Than what school can teach you. Yeah, it's been a rough day. So, how do we feel today? Because I know I don't want to talk about it, but yeah, I'm tired and I don't cry, Kiki, don't cry.
I'll try not to.
Thanks. um yeah, yesterday was a big learning curve for the both of us. And I think that that's kind of like why we started the podcast, right? Like to share and to show up um tired and to show up happy and to show up delusional, but also to be the entrepreneurial that we want to be in the life and create ourselves into this new era or into this new creation of life that we want to be in, right?
Like our new chapter, exactly. And
Yeah.
I know, like, when you're looking at other people and their success, a lot of people don't show you the mess that they had to go through in order to get where they are. Um, just like Naya said, it was a rude awakening a little bit. Um, we we definitely felt a little knocked down a peg. We were very like we started off, we were in it to win it, and then we got finished with everything. We were not happy with it. Um, there was a little bit of discouragement, but I think if we're showing up as our authentic selves, we need you to know that it's you're always there's going to be failures. It's always going to be a learning experience. Nothing's ever going to be like a-okay. It's never going to be 100%. You do have to work at it. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. I think that you always see those like influencers, or you always see like those people that have it all together. Like you see the tip of the iceberg every time. You're like, oh, they have their business, they're so polished, and their website, and they're this and they're that. And you're like so focused as to like how did they get this so good from the get. But what you don't see is it's like Titanic, right? You think the iceberg is like just this little tippy top, but you're not realizing like the actual iceberg is like this deep, right? Below water. You're only seeing the tip above and you're just like, oh, but they're doing it. No. I mean, yesterday, yeah, it was like kind of like a knockdown thing, but like for me being the person that I am, I'm like, okay, we got to learn this. Let's move forward. Let's learn this because we have to. We Another thing too is that there's two of us working on this business and we don't have bazillion money in the bank account in order to start a business. And so we're starting a business with money, but we're not having tons of money to start a business either. So we're in this like, okay, we have to spend our money the right way. And like, is this important for the business? Yes or no? Okay. If it is, then we pay. If it is, then we'll invest the money in it. Let me just start by saying one thing. There is no business that's ever going to be fully free. You can use ChatGPT and Canva, but if you want a to create like an ebook and whatever, but if you want the best thing, the best edit, you are going to pay for ChatGPT and you are going to end up paying for Canva. So therefore, you're investing, and that is part of the business. So you can do free stuff, but in order to have investment into your ROI, you have to spend money. And everyone says it. You have to spend money in order to make money. And you're going to take losses when you first begin because you're figuring things out. You don't know how the software works. You don't know how this, you don't know how to, whatever it is that you're trying to do, you don't know how to, unless you're an expert already in the field. And even if you are, you're still going to take a loss because you still have to find the clients. And there are so many different things. But so, yeah, starting in a business with a low cost.
It's a lot of research and development that both of us have been doing. We
Absolutely.
started this process in March, and now we're here beginning of May. It's a lot of research and development, a lot of uh, deep conversations that we've had to make sure that we're curating this business or yeah, curating this business based on how both of us feel, where we're coming from, and a lot of learning curves.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's funny. It's just so interesting to have this topic. Anyway, so besides talking about business, what are we going to be talking about in the podcast? What are going to be our topics?
We're talking about spirituality. We're talking about navigating, modern lifestyle and being spiritual and staying true to yourself. We're talking about being messy during this entire um journey that we're both on. And we're on different journeys, we're on different paths, but we've come together to make this something for everyone, for the community. Because I think there's a lot of us who kind of feel lost. We don't have that community. We don't have that shoulder to lean on, or that that person or anyone. So we don't know where to turn to. And we've kind of just been tired of like where do we go? And other people are making or creating, I should say, creating content, and it's just something that's never really vibed with us. So we wanted to create a space where people who were kind of like-minded or had the similar questions that we had, we wanted to create this space for you so that you did have a community where you can be open about how you feel, where you're at on this journey, because we're all in this together.
Yeah, we're starting from the ground.
Yeah.
We're starting from the ground. Like our business has been set in a way where like, yes, we have our podcast and yes, we have our social medias and we have a website. But like, let me be honest, our website is not like is not designed perfectly. It's designed to fit the things that we need. And in order to be found, and what we talk about on there is our podcast, ourselves, and essentially our digital products. So that's basically it. So nothing that we have is like polished. Everything that we have is as we go, we're changing and we modify, we pivot. Um, yeah, I think that again, going back to this, I feel like a lot of people are just seeing the tip of the iceberg and always say like, you need to be ready in all aspects. But like, no, look at all these influencers that are online that are just showing up for their audience, and that's it. They're just showing up every day for their audience and creating as they go and pivoting. And then after that, it depends on their values and their missions and their core values and all that. But for us, it's more ingrained in the sense of like, okay, we really have talked about this like for hours,
Yeah.
like for hours and hours. Like I think there has been like 3 days where we talked for like 10 hours a day on a Zoom call and like, okay, what are we doing? What are we talking about? What is it? What's your values? What's this? What's that? And it does also help. And we probably should let the audience know that like we've known each other for like 5 years now. Back at 5 years, 4 years
It's probably
back
been
in.
about 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah, because we met in our Reiki master program. Well, we met before that. Uh, so we do have a little bit of our history as well. But if you were to ever say like, "Hey guys, did like Naya and Kiki ever thought about like doing something together?" We would have been like, no. But there is a but, and you know where I'm going with this. Is that you do know that, so for our graduation on our Reiki master, our master teachers told us that we needed to come together and like do things for our graduations, and everybody was like giving tasks to do things in collaboration. We had a pretty good there was 13 of us in our class, right? I think it was
I
in our
think,
Reiki
yeah.
master class. And so we were like partnered up by like 2 or 3 people in each program. And so in each task, and Kiki and I got to be together on the program. And we were like, okay, cool. I don't know why I keep calling it a program, by the way. Sorry, this task. And Kiki and I got together to do like our pamphlets and our, what was it? It was like something else. It was pamphlet and was like another thing um, for our graduation. And we worked, and we're very creative, and we're very savvy and like creativity stuff. And so like it worked out. So of course we used Canva, and we got everything, and everything we did just like worked so well. Same ideas, everything flowed perfectly well. And I was like, wow, like this is so cool to work with somebody and have like the same vision. I mean, there's moments and she would say like, no, I don't like this and I don't like that. But I was like, okay, cool. Like it wasn't like a no, and it was like, okay, how do we pivot this? It was like no, and then like, and she gave like new ideas and stuff like that. And so like it worked, we worked so well. And that was like in 2023 when we graduated. And 2 years later, here we are making the podcast. Not even two, yeah, 2 years later, literally 2 years later to the T actually. Um and so like to this day we still talk about it. I was like, yeah, do you remember when we did our master program and like how well we worked? And then now we have like these super deep conversations like saying like, yeah, we can do this. Like I think the universe has a funny way of showing us that we were supposed to work together back then and we didn't realize it. And then now it's like, hey, I want to do a podcast. Hey, me too. Are you for real? Totally. Like
Started with a conversation, started with a phone call, then restarted with a voice note. It's just us, you, and I think it's, I think it's, how do I phrase this? I think it's how we do communicate with each other. Everything has always been like hearing each other's voice. And that's what has sparked it from the beginning. That's what sparked our connection with each other. We've always been really helpful. Um I was working at the crystal store that Naya had called into because Naya was going to start doing the first level of Reiki. And that was where our relationship really started. It was that first conversation. Was us just being helpful to one another. And how we feel about being helpful to one another, it's just carried over now into our podcast and us showing up for each other and showing up for our community. um I just think it's beautiful, like how life unfolds. You plan all the time, but life is like, well, guess what? You don't know exactly what you think. So it's like, it's happy beginnings for like a new future.
yesterday was a sad beginning, but like that is part of it. But that's the thing is that like even earlier before we got on the show, remember we were talking and you're like, yeah, I would have thrown shit at the wall and like I would have gotten like crazy and stuff like that. Like, but I see like if you were to do this journey alone, if you were to do like this business alone or this new adventure alone or whatever path you're in, spiritual growth or entrepreneurship growth or whatever, and you feel like you would have lost it, I think that having a partner, business partner, whatever, friend that keeps you grounded but accountable for it. Like obviously Kiki was doing her things and like it was fine, but like I feel like because we worked together and we pushed through it and like I was doing something else and she was there and like we still were there online and still working, and I think that like that helped you to not throw shit at the wall because you ended up by not doing that.
Yeah.
And we pushed through it, right? Had you done this alone, you would have been like, all right, you know what, screw this, I'm not doing this today, I'll do that tomorrow. Because it becomes a thing of like, well, I'm tired, well, there's excuse, and we start going into like this downward spiral because we're like, nobody's here to encourage me, right? And I
Mhm.
think that if you don't have people in your corner that either believe in you or are there to push you forward, right? Then they're not that they're not the people for you, but like they're the people that are in not worthy of who you are, especially if you're trying to grow, especially if you're trying to change into your spirituality or if you're trying to change into your business aspect of life or even in your life and overall. So it's very hard. And for me, before I even, I've known Kiki for 4 years now, but like even before that even got started, like I met so many people that were like, yeah, I totally want to do a podcast. So yeah, I totally want to do a course with you. I totally want to do this. And every time I were to have a Zoom call with them and like just to ground bases and to talk over the things down, like the core values of this and that, half of the time people didn't show up. They never text back. They didn't care. They didn't answer me. Like, and I'm just kind of like, is this really the person I want to work with? Is this a person that I really want to have like any kind of like business adventure with or spiritual growth with? They can't even show up for me. They can't even show up for themselves. Right. And I was like, this is a redirection. And I'm like, I'm glad that none of it happened because now I get to work with this beautiful soul that like is literally the heaven of completely, she's the mirror. Like she's me in a different way. Like, and so I'm like working on something like, hey Kiki, can you do this? And she's like doing this while I'm working on something else. But like we're working together and there is that, right? When instead of like chasing people like, hey, are you coming to the call? Like 15 minutes later, they're not showing up. And it's like, yeah, I'm on another meeting. I get it, you're on a meeting, but you knew a week ago that we had this meeting. You didn't prioritize this meeting. So that means that like the other call is more. So it's you're back and forth. And it's like, I want to be a priority. And if you can't be a priority for me, then what's the point?
Exactly. It's being cohesive, it's having that communication because life happens. We're aware that life happens. If Naya's running a little bit late because she's taking care of something, she always communicates to me, "Hey, listen, I'm going to be a little bit behind, but as soon as I'm finished with this, I'm jumping on." I do the same thing. Even yesterday with everything that was going on, I was like, "Listen, I'm probably going to be a couple minutes late. I'm getting this set up and I'm doing that and I'm organizing this and all of that." And it's just being that communication. um you have to have that with, regardless of who it is, if it's a friend, if it's a business partner. If you don't know how to communicate with each other and be accountable for your actions, then it's not looking good. And I'm so happy and grateful that we do have this bond and this connection, and we're able to communicate and get, pardon my French, but get shit done.
Don't insult me. For all right, I'll little introduction, but I am part French, Colombian, and Vietnamese. So she was like not insulting me. I didn't take it to heart because this is funny. It's just the saying, right? Part of my French. So
But
I'm like, don't insult me. Anyway, just a little goofy moment here, which you'll probably see plenty of those. We're just running on very low fumes right now, so we're a little bit we're very tired, very delusional, and very little goofy today. But that's because we're trying to get this podcast ahead. So, talking about business. Okay, so we'll be talking about spirituality as well. So, Kiki, what is it that you do in the spiritual world? Like, what is your overall topic?
so for me, I dabble in a little bit of frequency healing, energy healing, and I'm also really crafty. So I also create spiritual tools for other people. Um I've never really resonated with all of these terms that people use in our community. If I had to say that I was, like I gave myself a title, I would say that I would be like an energetic nurturer, because I want to help other people and create a safe space. So that would be kind of like where I'm coming from, just helping other people heal, giving them a safe space in order for them to feel themselves so that they can grow. What about you?
I love that. I love that you did your homework. I need to get the clapping. I need to get the clapping things here on our recording. So for me, I work with energy as well. That's actually how we met. So I work a lot with energy, nature, and sacred practices, sacred medicine, and sacred practices. So that's basically putting me on to like one big ball of we'll explain this later episode. Um, but yeah, I feel like if I was, I don't also, we, that's another thing. We don't like to be put into boxes and, and so I probably would say like, I'm like a spiritual messenger guide or something like that. And granted, I still have to do my homework because I have to like call it something else, but I feel like I'm guiding people towards, or I'm like an educator for the people that are lost and confused. I feel like an educator or a guide sounds very good. And messenger, because when I am with spirit or when I am in medicine, I tend to be a messenger and I tend to work a lot and with a lot of symbols and signs and other things that we'll probably reveal in another time. But yeah, so I think that that's where I'm at. So, do we want to wrap it up for the
we,
first day?
we do. We
So that's a
do.
little bit about us and what our topics are going to be like. And we're also going to be talking about real conversations. How about that?
The real
How
real.
about that? We forgot about that. Whoops. We're talking about conversations and real topics and things that happens and showing up happy, messy. I have somebody showing up right now as we're talking about showing up.
Oh, there's my boy.
Mahalito. He wants to come and say hello. So, yeah, that's it. So, this is the Pathless Path and our first podcast. And
Super excited.
welcome. Super excited. That's it for today. If something hits home, share it or just sit with it.
Follow the show. We've got more coming soon.